gentlemen. This is the clash of the microdoses. I've been looking forward to this one and making lots of fun jokes on social about it. So pleased to introduce the team from MycroDose Therapeutics. We've got Chad Connor, Frank Kochinke. Am I pronouncing that correctly, Frank?
Very close. I have heard worse.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll let you not butcher it, and Patrick Eckstrom. So I'm going to let you guys take the mic, take the stage, and I'm looking forward to the presentation here, gents.
Great, thanks, Patrick. Hello, everyone. We're really excited to be here. We're just going to jump right into it. The way we're going to do this is we're going to present what we're doing in MycroDose and what advanced drug delivery is for the first 20 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes we'll take questions. So here we are. We're excited to be here. This is our first event as MycroDose Therapeutics. We're one of those companies that have been under the radar for the last year, really putting together our business plan, getting our licenses in place, really getting everything we need to create a company that can really conquer why we're all here, to really help with mental health. And I have a real honor to be here with my team. We are a startup. We've only been around for about a year, but this team has worked together for 5-6 years, working really on other Schedule I substances, for example, cannabinoids with THC. And we've had very good success using advanced drug delivery to deliver Schedule I active ingredients. Our team has a long history on working with advanced drug delivery. We've had successful exits, navigated through the FDA, done clinical trials. And so I'm really honored to be with my team and with all of you. And with that said, let's just jump right into the theme of drug delivery. Patrick?
Thanks, Chad. Yeah, as Chad mentioned, this team, Frank, Chad, and myself, have been together for years, specifically developing advanced drug delivery systems. Prior to psychedelics, we were all in the cannabis space. So when the opportunity arose for us to work in psychedelics, tackling mental health and cognitive diseases, the three of us were all in. I'd love to briefly share some specifics about MycroDose Therapeutics as to where we are currently as a company. But first, I feel it's really important to acknowledge the researchers, scientists, doctors, clinicians, the entrepreneurs like a lot of us, investors, donors, and really the nonprofits that have really paved the way for this sector decades ago. And all of us, as Richard and Patrick mentioned in the intro, are doing it right now. And so equally as important, if not more important to recognize, is the acknowledgement of the patients and the people suffering. The stat I recently saw is 1 billion people. 1 billion of us have been impacted by mental health. And so it's really, for us, it's really important to remember that, in our pursuit of finding alternative solutions to treat illness, that we really are treating people. And those people are ourselves, our loved ones, our children, our grandparents, spouses, neighbors, and friends. And so, our mission, we're very mission focused, and our mission is advanced drug delivery. Is basically to develop cutting edge technologies using new IP into creating it into existence, ultimately to bring more happiness, love, connection, and understanding to those suffering, and for those people and patients that are suffering. And so with that, a little bit of MycroDose as a company as we are right now. Up on the screen, you'll see our expertise is in advanced drug delivery systems and products. Main indications, there's quite a few indications that we're utilizing the psychedelic APIs for. We'll talk more about those mental health and cognitive diseases that we're looking at. We'll talk a little bit more about the psychedelic APIs that we have researched and are researching. In addition, we're focusing as well on cancer and cancer-related conditions with ketamine. From a technology standpoint, we're very technology focused. We've coined the term sustained microdose technology, and Frank and Chad will hit that home a little bit later in the presentation. But we have developed IP. Our latest patent is a comprehensive, pretty robust patent on transdermal. Transdermal is not just patches, but patches, gels, topicals. We'll talk about our 4 core technologies and our expertise. But our R&D right now, as it sits currently, is on 2 of those. Specifically, our laboratory is focused on transdermal and oral mucosa, or kind of a lozenge delivery. As I mentioned, our R&D laboratory, we're a US-based pharmaceutical company located in sunny San Diego, right in the biotech life science center of Southern California. Our lab work and the supply production is, follows all GLP and GMP regulations. And I'm really proud that our team, our laboratory, and our research has been approved by the California Research Board, the DEA, and the FDA for researching of 4 psychedelic APIs. And those APIs that we're doing research on is psilocybin or psilocin, LSD, MDMA, and DMT under our Schedule 1 license at our facilities here. Something to note too is the investors that have backed us and that have supported us. We have been very fortunate over the last year to be blessed with a very good mix of private investors and institutional investors that have backed our team, technology, and mission. The mix includes Silicon Valley tech founders, entrepreneurs, to board of directors at pharmaceutical companies. And as you can see up here on the screen, some of the well-known psychedelic funds and the institutional money has given this team a hug, a blessing in terms of the financial side of things. So it's a great mix, and we're always interested in and open to talking more about our potential partnerships, advisors, and potential future investors. So please reach out after this presentation. Our contact information is below. But right now, let's take a look at some of the most well-known advanced drug delivery products that have ever existed to share about what's happening in the marketplace. Chad?
Thanks, Patrick. So some of these products, I bet most of them you've heard of. We're just going to go through them so you get an idea of other products in other pharmaceutical actives that use advanced drug delivery. So first one, fentanyl patch. This is something that's been used for quite a bit of years. It's a patch that helps with pain. Another product you probably heard of is Oxycontin. This has a lot of controversy. It's one of the biggest blockbuster drugs in the world, and they use sustained delivery and controlled release in their product with a capsule. A mental health drug we find is Wellbutrin. This uses also sustained release to have the best effect for depression. Another one is the Nicoderm patch, the nicotine patch, and I've had the honor to work with Frank for many years, and he was part of the development originally around the nicotine patch back in the 80s. So he has almost 35 years experience doing transdermal in the pharmaceutical space for many different actives, now psychedelics. Another one is estradiol, estrogen, hormonal therapy often uses advanced drug delivery. The last one I want to show, a little bit toot our horn, is this is a biodegradable implant that Frank invented that was commercialized by Allergan, which is a big pharmaceutical company here in the US. And actually, this was an implant you inject in the eyeball. The eyeball is very difficult to get drugs in. So if you can put it actually right where you need it, you can use up to 1,000 times less active ingredient to get therapeutic results. And that's one of the benefits of advanced drug delivery, which we'll get into a second. Patrick?
Thanks, Chad. So, this is the global market for the advanced drug delivery system. So why is this market expected to grow by nearly $100 billion over the next few years, up 30+%? This market is 3 times larger than the mental health market. It is 10 times larger than the functional mushroom market. And why has MycroDose Therapeutics really built a company solely around the technology as they apply to the psychedelic sector? Why are we so bullish on advanced drug delivery? Why has Big Pharma developed some of the most successful blockbuster drugs of all time using this controlled and sustained release technology? And really, what's the difference between conventional drug delivery and advanced drug delivery? And these questions, I am going to turn over to our Chief Science Officer, Frank, to help answer and break down these for everybody. Frank?
Thanks, Patrick. So for the introduction. So what are the problems or issues we are trying to resolve with advanced drug delivery? It's the peaks and valleys. The issues that there are fluctuations in the plasma level of patients when they take conventional drug delivery systems. You want to avoid drastic fluctuations, in particular when you are dealing with very potent drugs. And we know some of those psychedelics are very potent. They have great therapeutic effects, but can also cause severe side effects, bad trips, psychosis, neurotoxicity, and so on. Also, to allow for an optimum effect, you want to have the drug consistently available. However, typical conventional drug administration forms, the capsules, tablets, tinctures, including the microdose, shown here in red, create oft big drug concentration peaks that then very quickly drop to zero until the next administration is delivered. And the whole cycle repeats. Again, there's the big peak, which drops to zero. But the time between those peaks, we call it the valley, where the concentration is zero, that essentially represents no therapy, while the peak, on the other hand, is potentially associated with certain adverse or adverse reactions. Now, should we find out that the desired therapeutic outcome or specific brain activity can be achieved with a much lower concentration range, shown here in that blue box, then obviously the drug amount to create concentration above the therapeutic range is wasted, and of course can cause pose safety risks. Microdosing is the first step in the right direction. It's attempting to avoid the potential for toxicity, bad trips, and etc. As shown here with the little yellow peaks, microdosing achieves to keep the concentration peaks right in the range. They are not overshooting into the potential toxic range, but there are still the valleys. That means no therapy between applications. And this is where advanced drug delivery comes into the picture. Here, we call it sustained microdosing, which solves both problems. Controlling the input of drugs, keeping it inside the desired range, and also avoid the valleys by sustaining the input, like an infusion, only more practical. So this is in a very, very schematic form what advanced drug delivery tries to accomplish. And maybe, Chad, you can summarize the advantages and benefits of advanced drug delivery.
Thank you, Frank. Yes, so what are the benefits? What is exactly advanced drug delivery? Well, advanced drug delivery, as Frank just mentioned, you can control the input and you sustain the release. So for example, it controls your active ingredient, here being psychedelics, the input into the bloodstream. And as you get your product into the bloodstream, that starts to control brain activity. As we know, these active ingredients, they pass the blood-brain barrier and they start to have, receptor occupancy. So the brain gets affected by these powerful, powerful active ingredients. Now that, in what we're doing in our clinical research, is we're correlating that to a therapeutic outcome or result. We can call that an intensity rating. If we have ever used these type of substances, we know the more we take, the more intense it is. But that's correlated to an outcome like depression or anxiety or autism. Also, you sustain this over time. So you sustain the input over prolonged periods of time. What this does is it allows the physician to titrate dosage over time. What we like to call it, which Frank will speak to more in a second, is we have that knob. We can control input rate, so we can turn it up in the plasma levels or turn it down over time. Now, this is a really important tool that we're giving our clinicians and other clinicians to be able to do it, control and sustain it with such powerful APIs. And this gives a lot of benefits. For one, a huge safety profile. We do not want to hurt people. We don't want to have great toxicity or psychosis. Also, it increases, advanced drug delivery increases bioavailability. So we get more into the body with less ingredient.